Hello everybody, and welcome to another interview with Students for Political Engagement. So today we have an interview with Raika Sheppard, who is the incumbent Ward 4 councillor and is running for re-election. So good evening. To start us off, would you like to offer a short introduction of yourself?
Sure. First of all, hi guys. Thank you so much for having me here. The first thing I want to say is I commend you guys so much for your actual political engagement. I see a lot of youth your age that are not as engaged, and I am so happy to see that you guys are so involved. And I used to be one of you guys when I was your age, and it's really, really refreshing and amazing to see. As you said, my name is Raika. After Mayor West became our mayor in the mayoral by-election in January, there was an appointment process. I was one of the candidates that put my name forward, and I was appointed as a Ward 4 councillor. I have a bachelor's degree in political science and my Juris Doctorate. I also have my condominium management certificate and my realtor license. I have a law practice that I manage in the Village Core, Village of Richmond Hill BIA area, and I'm a resident of Richmond Hill.
Cool. Thank you for that introduction. So our first question has something to do with a livable community. So how will you as councillor maintain and improve community safety in Richmond Hill?
Community safety is one of the issues that is very near and dear to me as a business owner in the Village Core, especially during COVID lockdowns. We experienced a lot of safety issues in the Village Core, as well as other areas in Richmond Hill. But there were predominantly a lot of issues here due to the businesses being shut down because of restrictions. And so prior to my engagement on council, as the chair of the Village of Richmond Hill BIA, I was engaged with YRP as well as various organizations within the region to address this issue. When I took on the role of councillor, I continued that. My office currently works as a liaison with YRP and York Region CAMH. We are hoping to initiate a number of mental health related outreach programs in the next few months. And we're hoping to increase the level of services that the region is offering in terms of mental health issues with our homelessness that we have here. We want to offer more access to services in terms of getting on residential housing wait lists, getting on shelter wait lists, access to carding services and mental health services. So hopefully we'll be able to roll that out in the next few months. And I hope that I get the opportunity to continue working through the Ward 4 office to act as a liaison and continue the work.
All right. So thank you for the answer. And as a follow-up to that, I think there are some other aspects of community safety, such as traffic, which is something that the city also is under the city's purview. So do you think you might have any thoughts on anything in that regard, such as traffic laws, traffic signs, bylaws, things like that?
Of course, actually, Ward 4 is currently, the city's transportation department is currently doing a number of transportation reviews, which includes speed reviews, whether or not we could increase signage in specific areas in the ward, whether or not there would be a need to add speed bumps or speed humps of any kind. So this is something that we are currently in the process of reviewing. The transportation department is working closely with my office when we get reports from residents regarding anything from street racing to speeding issues or traffic issues. We immediately report it to the transportation department so that they could potentially include those areas as part of their review. The transportation review study will come back to council next year, at which time council can decide whether to implement the recommendations that comes forth in the staff report, and whether we can address some of the concerns that residents have. We also encourage residents to participate in their neighborhood watch groups and and to report any instances, especially if there's repeated instances that we may not be aware of. We ask them to report it to us, to report it to YRP, so that hopefully together with our combined effort with the community, we can address some of the traffic concerns that we have at the moment.
Thank you. And our next question has to do with the financial health of the city. So as a municipality, our financial well-being and our financial health of Richmond Hill is a very important part of its operation. So what would you do as councillor to ensure that Richmond Hill is on good financial grounds, while at the same time providing same or improved services?
So I think the budget committee and the budget chair and the city's financial department have worked really hard in the past few years to ensure that we are giving a good level of service to residents while maintaining our taxes at a 0% increase. I have worked in my time on council with the various departments to ensure that everything we're doing is done efficiently. The best way to ensure that costs are kept down is to ensure that we're running an efficient city. So that means waste of time on council with decision-making process, working with staff to ensure that we are doing everything we can to streamline all the process with everything that we have to do with our decision-making process. And I'll continue that role, hopefully, and I'll continue working with the budget committee, the finance committee, and the financial department team to continue the financial health of Richmond Hill. We'll also hopefully be able to review some of the revenue-making opportunities that we have, potentially work with different departments to see if we can apply for various grants, federal and provincial grants, and to be able to fund some of our projects through alternative funding sources that are available. So that's one of the things that I really, really hope to do if I'm able to continue my role as a Ward 4 councillor.
Yes, thank you for that. And I was just wondering, do you think there are any specific items you might want to see more funding granted to in the budget, or any items that you think might have too much money granted to them and scale back?
I really, really think that our arts community could use a lot more funding. So I would really love to find ways to bring more funding to our schools, to our artistic community, to our orchestra, to our music programs that we have. We have a lot of great community programs that are available that we could increase the scale to if we had more funding. So one of my goals would be to look at how we can improve services. In terms of cutting funding from programs, honestly, like I said, because I feel that the financial department and our finance team is doing such a great job, I would really be hard pressed to cut funding from anything. I would really look for ways to increase funding while keeping taxes as low as possible and making sure we get those federal and provincial grants in however way we can.
All right, thank you for that answer. And our next question is related to cooperation with the federal and provincial government, which is transportation. So an important aspect of a good city is efficient transportation. So what, as a councillor, would you do to develop and improve Richmond Hill's current transportation system?
Well, that's a really good question. One of the goals, the city's vision is to have a 15-minute community. Eventually, as part of our vision for the future of the city, we want to create a city that's designed in a way that we move away from our bedroom community approach, which means we're hoping to create more economic opportunities, more jobs, so that we retain our residents here and create complete communities. When that vision is achieved, hopefully we'll be able to reduce some of our carbon footprint. We'll have less people driving in and out of the city. As you know, regardless of how we feel about it, the TOC is going to bring the subway here. So with the subway coming, there will be an alternate mode of transportation available. At the same time, the city is doing a lot to promote alternate sources of transportation. So we're trying to design the complete street principle, which is designed to prioritize active modes of transportation. It's designed to account for micro-mobility modes of transportation like e-bikes and scooters and whatnot. We are trying to provide the infrastructure to create more bike trails and dedicated bike lanes, and to connect our trails to create more bike paths. And essentially, our vision is to create a more hospitable environment for a community that relies on more alternative and greener modes of transportation as opposed to relying on cars. I know we're a bit far off from that vision, but hopefully we'll get there sometime soon.
Thank you for the answer. So speaking of a greener topic, this next question has to do with our public parks and green spaces. So how will you work to protect and improve the environment of Richmond Hill?
Okay, so as you guys may know, a council approved a parks plan in June 2022, which we're really excited about. The parks plan is designed to expand our park system to continue making a livable, diverse Richmond Hill. It's designed to improve the existing the functions of our existing parks and to maintain them. It's designed to connect our parks and enhance our streetscapes to trails and the larger greenways. And it's also designed to create, its aim to design to create more flexible parks, multi-use parks that are available to residents all year round. So the implementation of that parks plan will do a lot to improve our environment and to maintain the wonderful environmental features that we have. In addition to that, on the city-led front, we are doing a number of programs to ensure that our environment is taken care of and protected. The official plan updates that I touched upon a little while ago, it's designed to implement and make changes to existing bylaws to ensure that we have development that's economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable. These official plan updates, they're intended to direct development away from our natural heritage features. So that's a really, really important aspect. We are very aware and protective of the Oak Ridges Moraine and the environment, of the very precious environment that we have there. Our official plan updates are also designed to support provisions for alternative energy sources, which is really important. The complete streets concept that I talked about, that's also aimed at, reducing our carbon footprint and environmental protection. And again, different modes of transportation that we talked about. So all of these things are going to hopefully enhance and protect our environment for future generations. Also, to reduce our carbon footprint, Richmond Hill is taking a bunch of other steps. One of those is the use of the ban of single-use plastics going forward, which is going to be implemented in phases. So I think these are all really important steps we're taking to protect the environment. And I just hope to continue working with our different departments to make sure our environment is protected in Richmond Hill.
Thank you. So, and this brings us to our next question, which concerns urban development. So obviously, urban development is an important part of City Council's responsibility. Right now, the lack of housing is an important problem that is facing Richmond Hill as our population grows. On the other hand, the density of housing and adequate services are also a concern of many residents. What is your idea or philosophy on how City Council should approach this problem and balance between these two issues?
So that's a really good question. I worry about housing in Richmond Hill. I worry about housing for our youth. We also have our seniors that we need to worry about. So in terms of housing, there are various cross sections of the community that are facing a housing crisis. One of the significant platforms that I am very passionate about, I do believe that we need development, but development needs to be sustainable. It needs to fit in and tie in with the needs of our existing community, as well as meet the needs of our future community. So in terms of developing existing neighborhoods, I would really be hard pressed to making changes to our formed neighborhoods unless those changes fit into the existing neighborhood's characteristics. But in terms terms of creating new subdivisions, obviously, I believe that we do need the development, but again, it needs to be sustainable, it needs to be economically and environmentally feasible, and it needs to be in line with our official plan. I think our official plan, we spent a lot of time designing it in a way that really meets the needs of our Richmond Hill as a city. And I think that that's a really, really key important piece that will ensure that our development is done in a way that's sustainable and environmentally responsible.
And thank you. So just as a follow-up, what are some examples, as you can see, like what is your idea of sustainable development, and how will you implement this sustainable development as ward councillor?
So there are a lot of things we can do to ensure that development is sustainable. Basically, we need to make sure, so Richmond Hill is doing a lot of really amazing things to ensure that new developments are sustainable. For example, we have a sustainability metrics. It's a green metrics. Basically, it's a scale that our developers can use to see how environmentally green they are and their developments are. We are seeing a lot of new urban design that incorporates features that have green space on it, that use stormwater management techniques, that ensure that, in terms of the carbon footprint and its impact, they have minimal impact. I look to see for myself, when I look at a development application, I look at the development in terms of how it fits into the official plan. I read all the studies that are available on the development. So I always make sure I understand the impact of the development in terms of, for example, the effects it might have on traffic, the impacts it might have on the environment. I read all the studies to ensure that it has minimal negative impacts and that it falls in line with our official plan. So again, we are doing a lot to ensure that the developments that come to Richmond Hill meet those standards. I hope that on the next term of council, we continue to uphold those standards and work with our planning department to ensure that the developments are essentially green and environmentally sound.
All right, thank you for the answer. And I think going into a little bit of the specifics of housing, do you think that in your mind you have a specific preference for certain types of housing development, or such as high density, medium density, single detached, or is it more like depending on the situation?
I think each area, has its own certain needs and requirements. As you know, Richmond Hill, the different wards in Richmond Hill each have different characteristics. In Ward 1, for example, the Oak Ridges Moraine and our environment there, that is one of the key elements in any developments that happen there. Example, Ward 4 is a very established older neighborhood with a lot of single family residences. So it all depends. The development needs to fit in and tie into the existing neighborhood and its characteristics. So it can't have any adverse effects, in my opinion. So as long as it fits in with that, I think each area and each development project should be looked at on an ad hoc case-to-case basis. So there's not a catch-all answer for everything.
All right, thank you. And I think our next question is, you've talked a lot about, things that the city has done and is doing to achieve results. So what do you think, since your appointment, has been your greatest achievement on city council?
Okay. For me, it was making Richmond Hill a compassionate municipality. So one of the successful motions that I brought forth with the support of my colleagues was to declare Richmond Hill a compassionate municipality. So it's my hope that we can, I can work with the city's diversity, inclusion, and equity department to roll out what that looks like for Richmond Hill and to expand on our DEI program. So I'm very excited about that, and I hope that we will be able to work on that and see what that brings forth. I'm also really excited about my anti-bullying initiative. Mayor West declared May 14th Be Kind to One Another Day in Richmond Hill. So it's an anti-bullying day. I really want to roll this out into an anti-bullying month. I want to work with the schools across Ward 4 and hopefully all of Richmond Hill, fingers crossed, and hopefully with your help, and make the month of May an anti-bullying month. So to be able to implement and roll out that program will be really, really, really significant. And last but not least, the downtown revitalization motion. So the village core revitalization motion was a big one. It's going to bring an incredible boost to our village core. We're going to hopefully get the study in place for new sidewalks, new streetscaping, all designed to improve our downtown core, which is going to bring more vitality to the area, more business, and improvement all around. So those are things that I'm most excited about. But there have been a lot of other amazing things along the way too.
All right, thank you. So our last question would be, what would be your first priority as councillor to improve or change our city?
Honestly, it will be really, really amazing. It's been, this short ride has been so rewarding that I'm just really excited to see who the new council will look like, and how we can work together and collaborate together and bring ideas forth for the betterment of Richmond Hill. Obviously, hopefully the revitalization motion is intended to come back in front of council beginning of next year. So I would love if council could take the implementation of some of those programs and fit it into the budget process when we are deciding a budget. Obviously, we have to start the budget process in November for next term, but hopefully we could try to roll out some few of those implementation of those projects right in at the beginning of next term. In addition to that, the parks plan, the implementation of that will be really, really exciting. So being able to roll that out and see how that will unfold. And yeah, those are some of the things that I'm really looking forward to.
All right, thank you so much for coming. That concludes our interview. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with us. And yeah.
Honestly, thank you guys for being engaged, involved. It's really, really important. Municipal politics is really important. The decisions we make on a day-to-day basis affects how all of us live, our quality of life, whether or not you guys will have jobs here, whether you'll have housing here and you'll stay in Richmond Hill. So it's really, really amazing that you guys are engaged. I commend you all. It was really nice meeting you all, and I wish you the best of luck in your endeavors.
All right.
Thank you very much. And,
Bye, guys. Have a great night. Thank you all.
Bye.
Nice meeting you. Bye.